as you know, we're going to talk about the role of a mentor. Many a times, what we need to understand is that what is mentorship, or what is a coach, what is, a certain set of, when we look out for people who can help us, what could be those formats through which we can get help. See, there are different kinds of models that are out in the market, whether you call it as a someone who could be your counselor, it could someone who could be a coach, it could be being a mentor. There are certain small amount of differences, but many a times it's also interchangeable by some set of people. So let's understand what is mentorship. So mentorship is generally someone whom you reach out to who's accomplished because of their experience and expertise and capabilities, and reaching out to that person to support them to help you make decisions in life. Now, what could these decisions be? Specifically, because we are talking about focusing on career success, it could be career guidance. It could also be, if you're, let's say, looking for a certain skill, it could help in building your skills as well. It could also help you in networking at the right place at the right time. Then there is also, personal growth that one could get from that. So a coach also does that, but in a different methodology. Many a times when you look at people around us, like our parents, older people around us, they are generally supporting you to be a counselor or a coach. They're playing that kind of role in some of our lives. So having said that, a mentor is someone who would be someone similar to our industry, or someone similar who's been through the accomplishments and the stages of life and cycle, who could tell you from their work experience that what's important for you to pick up. So that's a mentor. If I have to define that. And I always say this to people, that ask for feedback, seek for feedback, or ask for advice from people who have already overcome the question that you have. So once you know this, that those people have been through that experience coming early to you will help you either avoid those mistakes or guide you to be much smarter and faster in your decisions. So that's what a mentor does in a way, if I have to explain this to you. So it could be multiple purposes for which you might go for mentorship. There are two parties, right? A mentor and a mentee. What is also important is to look at the willingness on the both sides. It's also important that the mentor and mentee both get along well and are able to, on the both sides, there is a relationship created. It's not like that today you go and you look for someone and you'll get a mentor. It's kind of a relationship, whether it's with a coach or a counselor or a mentor. It's a relationship that gets built over a course of time, and through the life phases or stages, one could take support and help to answer certain questions or get clarity on what they would like to do further in their career. So I urge all of you, especially people who are, right now, most of them are in academics at the moment. I urge all of you to focus on the fact that mentors are important for you, so that one, you don't make the same mistakes that people made while moving forward in their career. Second, it helps you network with the right set of people. Thirdly, there could be certain skills that you're lacking. The mentor could give you a feedback that could help you to move and get better faster. So it helps in multiple ways, in terms of not just stopping you from making mistakes, but also elevating your life, quality of life, as you move forward at a faster pace. So those are things that we talk about in terms of why a mentor is important. And also would like to share that the concept of mentorship, especially in the Indian context, has always existed. Whether you pick up Gita, where the Krishna was being the coach and a mentor for Arjun, or you pick up any other old legends and myths and stories, in all of these segments, you will find that a coach and a mentor has always existed in the kind of setup that we've been brought up with. Even when you go to the Western world, very common for people to look around and get mentors and coaches for themselves. I was listening to a video by a very famous motivational speaker called Simon Sinek, where he talked about that how the mentor, getting a mentor in his life, shifted him to be a better entrepreneur. So he got an entrepreneur who was very accomplished as a mentor, and the whole relationship over the course of time became such that it helped him to become a better business person as well. So having said that, I would say and urge all of you that you should look for a mentor for yourself. Be open to different avenues. Talk to different people who are much more accomplished than you and evaluate them to be your mentor.
I just love the way you also emphasize the point from the scriptures about the Indian tradition, that everyone had their own guru, and also a modern concept of Simon Sinek. In fact, I also personally admire him, especially the concept of why that he introduced. I try to implement in all my decision making. So wonderfully said. I was also curious that during your entire professional and personal journey, you've mentored so many, and I'm sure you would have also seek mentorship and have had your own mentors. So can you share an example from both of these sides for our audience to get some inspiration?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that. So, I started my career, being, so my father always encouraged us to read a lot of books. So one of the learnings I have always got is from books, definitely. But as I was moving forward in my career, he would recommend me to reach out to career counselors to identify what could be the career prospects I could pick up. And as I moved forward, of course, there were different set of people who have been there with me in terms of being my mentors, my coaches over the course of time. There were decisions I had to make for my, decision. For example, when I was choosing my career at the point where I finished my, schooling, and I had to pick up the next steps when it came to graduation and then post-graduation too. So there were times when there was a time when I was, thinking of being in a different field altogether. And I was not sure that what could be my career growth if I picked up a certain kind of a sector to move forward in, and certain kind of, profession. So at that moment, I did reach out to some of my father's friends who were in that space. And I asked them about, okay, do I so first of all, there were a lot of, I was good at studies. So people used to tell me, why don't you become a doctor or an engineer? I chose not to go in that direction because I had a certain kind of a life that I wanted. I was not so sure if I wanted to be a doctor or an engineer. So that was the decision I took. But when I moved forward, I was not sure that what will I do. I took up commerce, and then I was not sure what's next for me. So that's when I reached out to a few friends of my father who were successful in their business and who were also, in different fields. So there were 4 or 5 of these people that my father made me meet. And I wanted to speak to them, socialize with them, network with them, and understand that how life has been for them in the space that they have been. And that helped me choose the space I wanted to get into. And I moved forward, and I chose to, do my BCom and then my MBA. And I moved forward to choose HR. So that was again interesting, that why did I choose HR? Because again, one of my teachers who was also a professor, in the space of, and very, very popular in the space of psychology, I reached out to her and I had to spend some time, and I wanted to, so one of the things that interested me always was psychometric tests. I was always curious about knowing human behavior. So I questioned her about, okay, what's the best way for me to continue to be in this space of being curious? So she made me, sit down and reflect on certain questions she asked me, that why would you want to continue to learn about human behavior, how does that help you, what does it make you feel. And then I also went through certain psychometric tests that she administered for me. And so consumer behavior, these things also are there in marketing. But I realized that I wanted to know about, as an organization, how people behave and how the psychology of culture comes and impacts companies. So that's what led me to choose HR. And of course, I went through the entire process. And as I moved forward in my career journey, there were steps of making decisions of job changes. So again, there were coaches, and I had sometimes hired professional coaches to talk to them about what my aspiration is. And you know what? There are different kinds of coaches and mentors available to you. So there have been times for my health, I have gone ahead and taken coaches. For my finances, I've taken coaches. For my career growth, I have taken coaches. I've also reached out to counselors and coaches when it came to my family, married life, and parenting life as well. So, different aspects of our life, we have coaches and counselors available out in the market, and even around you in your circles, you will easily be able to find that. So depends on what aspects. So when it came to career as well, my focus was always to look at someone who was much more accomplished than me, but someone similar in the field, so that they could really relate to when I ask them questions on how this, if I make this decision, what will happen. So most of the time, as I progressed in my career, I reached out to professional coaches who were from an HR background, or even business leaders in different parts of the world who helped me make certain decisions. What was important is that they would always ask me questions about myself, made me reflect on what were those things that I would need to know about myself. Then the next step, most of the times, they would make me realize that if I want to move to the next step, so right now, if I'm here and I want to go to the next level, what are those things that you think you need to start working on so that you move to that level? So those were majorly the kind of questions they would ask me and make me think. And the whole relationship over the course of time with all of these people has stayed long. I know, the person who helped me choose HR, I know her for more than 20 years now, still in touch with her. And so is with other professional coaches that I've stayed in touch with, because they always help me at a certain point. There was another stage in my life when I was, from job, I was moving into doing my own business. And not many people around me had taken that plunge at that age. So I went to a coach again saying that, hey, I feel I've kind of reached my glass ceiling when it comes to my HR experience, and now I want to do something different. And then we explored. While she asked me a lot of questions, we explored, and I realized that I would like to take up something in entrepreneurship. I did that for a few years, and I then realized that maybe I'm not so sure if I want to continue with this. I went back to the person again, and then we realized that there were certain skill sets that I had developed over these 3-4 years. And now that I wanted to go back to the job again, how do I position myself so that I get the job again? So that was something, going after entrepreneurship or going after a gap in your career. It was important for me to talk to a coach and understand that what could be some things I need to work on so that I get the job I was looking for after my gap in my career in terms of a job. So we worked together, and that career guidance was very, very helpful. There have been 2 instances, one for a very brief time when I took a break from my career for my personal reasons. I got a job back again. Then from business point of view, when I took a break for 3.5 years, I was doing my business. And then I went back with many more skills, back to another job. So that in both these cases, there was an elevation in my level, because I learned new skills in that course of time. And I made the decision of what kind of a job I should pick up at that stage and phase of my life. So those things, when I discussed with my mentors, it has helped me tremendously to make right decisions. So those are some examples I can talk about in all of my professional life, that how it has benefited me. So imagine if I go to my dad, who's always been a service person, he would not be able to help me with business. Imagine my mom, who's been a homemaker, even though they are good coaches and great people whom I take advice from for my personal life, but from a professional life point of view, they have not been there where I am, because the generations have changed, the world has changed. My dad, when he was doing his job, life was very different as compared to what it is for us. So they may not have the best of the advice for us when it comes to things like these. Even when I look at people around me, let's say my friends, they would be going through similar challenges as I am. So what is also important is to look at, am I going to the right person to seek advice? So always be clear of that as a mentor or a coach, look for someone who has accomplishments, who can help you, who has the skill to help you. Now, talking about vice versa, that while I was in my journey of evolving as a professional to what I am today, there have been around 10,000 plus lives that I've touched, whether in terms of workshops, whether it is in terms of coaching and mentoring. And there are hundreds of people that I've coached and mentored by now. Professionally, for a certification as well, we need to continue to coach people as well. So one of the things, whether it's college students or people who have been professionals, there have been a lot of times when, as a coach, I help them decide that what are some things that are critical for you when you're making a certain decision. And that's something I do on a regular basis. There have been a lot of examples. One of the examples I can quote is that there are a lot of women that I've supported when it came to they being on a career break, and they now wanted to get back. They were on a career break because of marriage or because elderly care. There could be various reasons, child care, and now they're ready to go back. There are times when there is a skill and a will issue, so we have to understand and support them. Of course, they've reached out for mentorship. So as I said, there has to be a willingness on both sides. It cannot happen when only one person is interested. Coaching and mentoring will only work when both the parties are equally engaged. So while I'm talking to a lot of women who would come back and say, oh, I'm interested to go back to job, but they were not willing to make that effort, then the whole effort goes into waste. So what's also important is that you need to know and know that this is critical for us. It's as a mentee, it's critical that you are willing to make that change that the coach or a mentor is suggesting you to. Okay, maybe you don't like that coach or mentor and the relationship or the advice they're giving to you. So which means that either the coach is not the right person for you, or there is no willingness to change. So think of those aspects also, that it's important for us to, as a mentee, show equal amount of willingness if the mentor is showing so. So there were examples like that where people were not willing to change and we had to drop that relationship there. But there were people who were willing to change, and there are so many success stories I can talk about where I was able to help them get back to jobs. Why? Because why did I choose that segment as a part of coaching for myself was because I went through that same experience where I was not having a job due to my career break and I want to get back. So that is the theme I was able to relate to, and I helped them as well. The other theme that I've obviously been very, interestingly been able to relate to is when I was at my college, and I had to make a choice of what next for me, school and college, and what next for me. I felt that was the most crucial time for me in terms of decision, because that shaped my entire next 20 years. So at that moment also, it's important to have a coach or a mentor that helps you realize that what's the right thing for you. So always pick up people based on what are certain themes that you identify with. So, for example, as a mentor, I generally coach students or people, professionals who want to move next level in their career. So, because I have a background in HR, so I know what goes on in the corporate market. I also have a background in, moving up the ladder in terms of career. So, what were certain challenges I faced? I can talk from my experience and share that with people. It's not necessary that you will come across the same challenges, but if you know more, it helps you take an informed decision. That's the only difference I can say. Definitely, experience helps, but consider that lives, generations have shifted. So many a times, the close ones around us may not be the best people to give us the right advice. So consider looking at professional coaching and mentoring as well.
That was quite deep. In terms of some of the qualities that you said is professionals who have walked the path, who are more accomplished than you, and probably having a similar, I would say, interests or career paths that you want to get into in terms of choosing the right mentor. Now, moving from this point a little bit, you also touched upon the mindset that a mentee needs to have, which is in case we have our wonderful students who are seeking mentorship. So
Yes.
they need to have this thing called the willingness, which you
Absolutely.
said.
Yes.
What are the other skill sets, or what is the mindset that they need to carry, or preparedness when they're entering into this mentor-mentee relationship?
So I think one of the other important aspect is to also be ready to learn. One aspect is to be there, willing to, get a mentor. But the other aspect is also to be willing to learn. Because what the advice of the mentor and mentee is, the mentor is, can change a lot of course of actions for you. So be ready to learn. The other aspect is also the relationship should be such that there is trust and respect. It's not that the mentor needs to treat you, hey, you, someone who doesn't have experience, come, let me tell you what is the right thing to do. That's not something. It's more like the person is then trying to boost their own egos. What's important is to look for trust and a relationship, a friendship that you're able to build with that person. It's not about being a teacher and a student there. It's about having conversations, qualitative, deep conversations that could really take you in the depth of understanding yourself. So that trust relationship is very important. The confidentiality is very important. If you go and through a mentee or a coach and confide in them, share something in something which is confidential, but then later on you hear that person gossiping about that somewhere else, that's not the right relationship to be in. So confidentiality becomes very important. Trusting and respecting each other's space becomes very important. So the relationship has a certain outcome. It's not that they will become a family to you, right? It's not necessary that the mentor is going to, a mentee is going to become a family member to you. So that space that needs to be created, respect that, okay, we are two different people and there is a professional connect we are trying to do so that I can get help from it. And there is a lot of stuff there for mentor also, because so why do I do mentoring, for example, as a mentor? Because I get a sense of satisfaction. Of course, there is money involved to some extent if I'm coaching people professionally, but I get a sense of satisfaction that my life experience is touching lives of other people and shifting and transforming their lives too. So I feel worthy. I feel that I've done something excellent where people's lives are, it's like a service I'm doing to them, apart from, of course, there is financial implication, but there is willingness from the mentor's side for this reason. So many a times those are things that need to be looked at as well. So the mentee definitely gets the guidance, knowledge, understanding, information. They can build great network. I might have someone known in sector and I can introduce that to the other person for more conversations. So always be in that learner mode as a mentee, to be able to get an understanding from the mentor and the mentee always needs to be in that mode of giving, right? So it's a give and take relationship in my view. So be mindful of the space you need to give to each other for that too. And sometimes the mentee may keep calling the mentor constantly, and the mentor might also get disturbed because of that. So it's important to have that space in terms of being a little professional while you approach these people. And trust me, I say this to all the companies that I work for, all the trainings that I do. We share our contact details with them. We share our connects, and that hey, reach out and ask questions. 99% of the times nobody reaches out. So that tells a lot about the 1% who reach out are actually genuinely interested in shifting their lives, and they do at the end of the day. So leverage the opportunity. LinkedIn is a great tool where you can always go and look out for people, connect with them, talk to people beyond your realm of experience, and that's where how you will get a lot of help.
So the question that they had is, which you already touched upon a little bit, is about how to approach the right mentor. So one of the things is LinkedIn. And I have this quick story that I want to share my own experience, that when I was wanting to go to a different country to do my MBA, US in particular, and being in India, I really had no idea. I didn't have any friends there who had studied. So what I did was, the college that I was applying to, I reached out to the alumni of that particular university,
Absolutely.
and this person whom I reached out to, she was working in a similar field that I wanted to get into, which is product marketing and in a technology firm. So I seeked the time to connect with her on phone, and we spoke a few times before I went to the US. And when I was there, we met in person, and I continued to seek advice on very important aspects in terms of finding the right internship, prepping for interviews, and job applications, which tremendously helped me, and I would say one of the key reasons for me to succeed. So we'll share with the audience how you can register and access the mentoring network. But Karuna, do you want to expand that how you can find the right mentor? That's a question from Pragya, one of the students
Yeah.
in our
The
audience.
perfect tool is LinkedIn because you get to see their profiles online. There are a lot of apps available these days on which you can register as a coachee or a mentee and able to find profiles. There's another one that I use. I'm registered as a mentor called topmate.io, where I'm registered, and people reach out to me through that as well. These are serious people who are interested in getting coached. Of course, you have your own networks where you let people know that I am looking out for a mentor, but also look out for people, let's say, who are more experienced in the space you want to be in. Just reach out to them, talk to them, and you will find they will give you space. They will give you space to talk to you. And the other way is, of course, Vagani Foundation also has methods through which you can reach out to your speakers and coaches, and I'm sure there is a whole program around that too. So those are tools and methods I can talk about that can be leveraged. Do write professional comments on that. Hey, hi, and you leave that there doesn't help. What's important is to look at creating a content, like a 2-3 liner content saying that I'm impressed with the years of experience that you have, and I have certain professional questions. What's a good time to reach out to you? So use language and techniques to write messages that are professional and will call out what is the need for which you're reaching out to the person. So trust me, whenever I've tried reaching out, I'll give you a very recent example. Now I want to be on boards of companies, and I was training myself for that. So I found a few HR professionals who've done that in the past, who've been HR professionals and now are on the boards of organizations. So there are professional trainings, of course, to build you from a skill point of view, but from an experience point of view, I wanted to reach out to a few HR professionals. And I wrote to them through LinkedIn, and they were readily available, and I had a few set of conversations with them. professionally to understand how their experience was. And while I took up all of that experience, I realized maybe I am not ready yet to do what this course is teaching me to do. And there are 4 5 things that are as gaps, like in terms of studying and also certain business understanding, etc. So that those conversations helped me find those gaps and then made me work towards in that direction. So I would say LinkedIn was the best for me in that sense. And then of course there are other apps and tools online. If you search for them, you'll find it very easily.
So, if you may allow, I can show our audience how to access the Wadhwani network, and apart from the
Absolutely.
wealth of knowledge that you have shared with our audience already, and
Absolutely, yes.
and to everyone who's around, we'll give you the access to this particular feature after the session, so you can start booking your session right away. So I'm gonna open the Wadhwani portal, and okay. So I'm going to access the live portal that you all can see after you've been granted access. And this is only exclusively for those who have attended this session that we're giving you this exclusive access. So if you see on top, we have this icon called mentoring. That's above home, calendar, placement, prep. You'll see mentoring on top right. If you're accessing on an app or on the phone, you will see on the bottom right. So click on this, and this gives you access to the wide range of mentors that we have on board with us, which are 40 plus from different domains and industries. And so I can click on them and see their profile. Let's say, so we have Arashika, who's also present here with us today as a faculty with us. And you can see her background, what's her expertise, and also look at the fact that the language that they can speak, so you can connect with them in your own language, local language, for a more personalized touch. And simply to book a session, you just click on book a session. And as Karuna said, do not forget to provide the context, which I have found that a lot of students miss providing and become a challenge for the mentor when you're conducting a session. So put in the details as much as you can in terms of what you want to meet them for. Give them a background about your education, your career aspiration in 2-3 lines, so that the mentor can also prepare and get some idea. And that's about it. This is as simple as that. And until that, you can also click on the link. So once you log into your Wadhwani profile, until this feature is activated, and if you want to book your session right now, you can directly do so by clicking on the link that you see in your chat right now. So, and we'll also be sending that to you as a follow-up email right after this session. So I'm quite thrilled for you to share, and you can connect with us for a variety of reasons: interview prep, career guidance, resume review, and something that I like, which our platform is least used for, is networking. So connect with them, expand and utilize their network as well. And don't just meet for one time or so, meet them for an extended period of time, every week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so that because one session is just not enough to get any deeper knowledge. And in case you're facing any hurdles, my colleague Nitishri or myself are here to guide you step by step. So that's a little bit about the Wadhwani mentoring network. So Karuna, continuing our conversation where we left off. So we touched upon how mentoring can help students in particular. And you also mentioned that you're also consulting, seeking mentoring yourself, even at the stage where you are a global CHRO. So for those who are already in work, how can mentoring support in terms of their leadership development or say career transitions?
Absolutely. So it helps at all stages of our lives. To start with, when you're in school, to the point where you're in your career and transitioning from career, to a different thing as well. So across your professional life, it can be helpful. And as I said, at certain phases and stages of life, I have taken mentoring, coaching for my lifestyle, for my health, for my financial planning, for my parenting, and for my married life too. So it helps to seek advice when you know you're not the best in that space. So it's great to continue to seek that, but of course, you need to choose the right person for yourself in terms of what kind of life do you want to create. So, basis that, you choose the right set of people for yourself. So, I would say that all these aspects, it's very important and critical to do that.
So it's just not a thing that you do at the beginning of the career, but as I'm getting that, mentoring is required
Yes.
at all aspects
Yeah.
to grow and succeed.
All aspects of our lives, all stages of our lives, it helps a lot. So see, we have our friends and family to help us in certain ways. But going out to someone who's lived the life that you probably want to live as well gives you an understanding of what road you will pass through, what roadblocks you will come across, and what will be the whole journey like, and what will be the outcome or the destination like to some extent. So think of it that you're walking the path and somebody is already telling you, like a guru or as a coach and mentor, that hey, if you take this step, what could happen? Or makes you realize by asking right questions that okay, this step, is it as per what you would like to do in your life?
So there's one thing beautiful that I liked about your explanation is that when you're consulting your family or friends, they can bring in a bias as well, which a professional or a unknown mentor won't. But then when I interact with, please.
Yeah, so that's the reason why mentoring and coaching are becoming so important and critical at these times, because one, generations are shifting, different lives, things are shifting. There are different kinds of careers that are coming up as well, which our parents or friends or families might not have experienced as well. Today, if you want to be, let's say, a radio jockey, and your parents were doing something in manufacturing, or your mom was a teacher, they don't know anything about radio jockeying. You need to meet someone who wants to, who's been a radio jockey, or you need to meet someone who can at least help you evolve the steps. Your parents might come back and say, hey, it requires night shifts, it requires odd hours. Is that a career, that their emotions will come into picture? They probably wanted you to be only an engineer or a doctor, and you wanted to be a radio jockey, It could be so many things that come into play. So how about having someone who doesn't judge you from all those aspects and gets you that, through this with the way you would like to live your life, and have a certain way of, questioning you to lead you to that answer. So that's why seeking advice from family is not a bad idea. Of course, it helps you in your personal life. Being there, you have to live life together with them. But I would say that whenever you're looking at, in terms of making certain decisions, or you want clarity, you want to know whether my decision is moving in the right direction or no, the best would be to also seek out a coach, seek out a mentor who could give you that advice of how that life would look like.
Picking up a question from our anonymous attendee, we have them asking, can you explain a little again about starting a mentor-mentee as a long-term relationship and make it a win-win for both?
Yeah, definitely. I can explain that again. So when it comes to starting, of course, you assess. When you're looking for a mentor, you assess that, okay, is this person right for me? So how will you check that? One, has the person been through that experience of what I want to live through? Has the person got a certain kind of credentials, credibility to be able to actually ask you the right questions? So for example, let's say I'm a professional coach. I have been trained to be a coach. I've been trained and I've learned it professionally of how to ask the right questions. So are you going to a certified coach, for example, to get the support that you're looking for? Those are credentials I'm talking about. Also look at, is there any experience backing that person? So let's say I'm an HR professional. Now, if I want help on career in HR, will I go to someone who has had a marketing experience for me to be a mentor, or would I go to someone? I would prefer to go to a person who has HR background, because they can tell you a lot more about HR sector as compared to somebody else. So that could be one way to look at it also, to start the relationship. These are checkpoints for you to kind of say, okay, this person could be my mentor. The third could be, is the person willing to give you that time? And are you willing to give time to that person? So those are a few aspects to check. Is the person going to respect my space? Consider that as well. So consider all of these aspects and then make decision of, okay, can this person be inspirational for me? If they give me some advice, will I listen to this person? So those are some things that you need to look at and then make a decision of picking a mentor and a coach. So be choosy, because it will impact your life. Once, and so will the mentor be, right? The mentor will also seek something from that relationship, which is whether it's monetary, whether it is in terms of time, whether it is in terms of they feeling that they've given back to the people, someone whom when they were in that stage and somebody helped them. So they feeling that, okay, it's my chance to give it back. So that sense of satisfaction that the mentor gets. So when both the set of participants align, is when the right relationship starts. And then you keep giving time in terms of asking them, maybe every 10 days, 15 days, a month, once a month. You can set up some regular time slots to talk to them, to get some advice from them. Keep your questions ready of what's bothering you, and ask those questions in the time that the mentor has given. One very important aspect is be there on time. Respect each other's time, whether it's the mentor or the mentee. So respect that time that the person is giving, the valuable time, and then continue to evolve that relationship from there. Be your genuine self. See, because you are choosing to go in that space, it's also critical that you don't make things up. You need to be genuine in that discussion, right? Otherwise, you are just fooling around with people and your own self. So it's important to be genuine in that relationship. And I think if you keep these 2-3 tips in mind, the relationship is going to be a win-win on both sides. Yeah, one more thing before you move
Yes.
forward. One more thing that just struck me was, if I'm a mentee or a mentor, what's also important is that I listen effectively. Because what they are trying to tell me, if I don't pay attention to that, I think that impacts a lot. Sorry, I cut you there, but
No, no,
I
fine.
thought talking about listening is very important. It's important to have that ability to spend time and listen to the person and then reflect on the advice or question asked.
Yeah, wonderfully said. And there's one thing that I feel that can be important, especially for a mentee, is that always reach out and in some of the experience, because since I manage the mentor network, I have mentors reaching out, seeking feedback as to how the session went. I think just be generous enough to share that feedback with the mentor in whichever way you connected, be it on chat, email, whatever way, thanking them or giving any kind of a constructive or anything that will add value to their time that they have shared. So I think that's also very important. And then let's say whenever you have accomplished the purpose that you had come in for example, finding a job, I think update them. It will make them feel really, really happy and fulfilled.
Absolutely. See, that's the relationship. It's just not limited to you paying up for them in case it's a paid mentoring, or it is not about that you've taken the benefit from the mentor and said, okay, hey, now I'm done. It's not a long-term relationship then. What's important is to keep them updated so that next time you can reach out to them if need be.
So to sum up, what is the final takeaway of the session that you want our audience to go away with?
So I would say I will give a few pointers in terms of advice, if I may say so. When it comes to students specifically and professionals, young professionals trying to move up their career, what is important is to know this, that your development is in your hands. Nobody is going to come and jump out of this world and come and say, hey, come, I'm going to develop you. It'll never happen. So what's critical is to take your development in your own hands. Most critical aspect. And then you continue to look for a guide or a mentor or a coach, whatever you want to call that person as, and continue to ask questions, seek advice. Things are built with lot of people. You are yourself not building it up. But when you start reaching out, many a times we don't ask for help. What's important is that you need to ask for help, whether it is through whether it's in your personal relationships or if it is in your professional setup. We don't ask enough. Ask, and as there's this interesting saying that ask and you shall be given. It's pretty much true. And then, one of the live examples is myself, where I asked and I was given a lot of mentors, I was given a lot of opportunities by my leaders, etc. So do continue to ask a question always and move forward. Ask for support. The third thing is that whenever you're looking for a coach or a mentor, it's critical that it's not a one-side relationship. It's both sides. So always have your criteria clear, that what are you looking for when you're going out? What's your objective to get a mentor? And then accordingly, look for those relationships that you can build up. What's very important is to continue to network, continue to talk to a lot of people around you till you settle for the right mentor or coach for yourself. That mentor could be there for your lifetime. So continue to look around, network a lot. Relationships, I mentioned this in one of the previous sessions also, that the quality of your relationships define the quality of your life. So build those qualities, build that quality through the relationships so respect that relationship once you get that, and continue to build on that. So those are a few things I would leave you to think about when it comes to mentoring. And when you're looking at building your professional career, take that in your hands, take charge of it. Your parents, your family, your friends, or nobody's going to come and help you out with it. You need to do it yourself.